Welcome everybody to the Crew 2. So I thought I'd give you my thoughts on the car list on this game, and yeah, it's by no means a perfect game. It's got many problems with it, but the car list is easily one of the stronger parts of the game. It's not got the biggest car list though. It's certainly not in comparison to like Forza Horizon or Forza Motorsport games, but there are some interesting choices, and I just thought I'd take you through them. So yeah, there's like three different ways you can have a car on this game. You can have them in terms of like a rally version, the normal road version, or there's a drift versions of some cars. But with the Abarth, for instance, there's only a rally version. But you've got the Abarth 124 in its standard and road version. It's road version and rally version, sorry. And then you've got the Abarth 500, and then the Abarth 500 in the Monster Truck Edition, though that is only available via a trial event, I think, or in a car pass or the season pass, something like that. Then you got the Acura, you only got the NSX, but you know, if you're gonna have any Acura, you may as well have the more up-to-date and fast version that they've got out there. I think that's the newer version than the one that's in Forza Motorsport as well, because I think it's got more power than the first iteration in the first year. Alfa Romeo, not a massive choice here. You've got the 4C, you've got the 8C, and the 8C Touring Car Edition. So yeah, there's Touring Car Editions, Rally versions, Rally Raid versions, and Drift versions, and drag versions of cars in with certain cars. Some cars have more than others, like this, the Alfa Romeo C only has the Touring Car Edition. Personally, I don't see the point. I don't know why you can't just upgrade the normal version to that car, and then have the space that the Touring Car Edition is taken up with another car. Seems a bit of a waste. It's like with Forza Motorsport that has various liveries of the same car. It's like, why didn't you just have one car and then choose the livery when you're in the buying part, or can just get it in the paint shop? It just seems a bit of a waste to me personally. Aston Martin though do have several good cars. We've got the V12 Zagato, the V8 Vantage S, which is a big one for me because we've only ever had the V12 Vantage in likes of Forza games, so to finally have a V8 Vantage, which me personally I've always preferred, especially in terms of the engine noise, it's really good to see. You can only get the latest Vanquish in, well, the last Vanquish that we had in the Ubisoft Club. I don't know how you get access to that. Maybe it's by how many games you've played, and then you only can get that Vulcan that you can easily get in Forza Motorsport in the Ultimate Edition of the vehicle. Oh, beat Pro Racing Champ to win this vehicle. I have no idea how you do that. I've not played much of this game. It's mainly just a game that I just mess around with, which is what this game does great, which I'll get onto in a minute. But yeah, we've got the Audi R8 Coupe V10. Not the latest version, I don't think, is it? Yeah, it is the latest version. And the Audi TT RS Coupe. And again, not a massive choice. I'm a bit sad that there isn't any saloon cars from Audi, but at least we have two of their better sports cars. And then Bentley, not a massive choice in here. We've only got the Continental Super Sports, which again is like 8 years old now, so I would have expected a more modern Bentley to come in this game. And then the Touring Car Edition of that car. BMW, a massive choice from BMW, but only really down to the fact that there's drift editions, etc. So yeah, we've got the Performance M4 racing car. Then we've got the M2, which is one of my favourite modern BMWs. Got the M4 from 2014. Then we've got a couple of M5s, but again, drift edition of one and the standard version of the same car. Again, don't see why you can't just upgrade the car to a drift edition. And then you've got the bikes. I don't know anything about bikes, so I'm not really gonna go into any details about them. But yeah, you've got plenty of them from various manufacturers. Then you've got the X6M. Again, I would have preferred a more modern BMW if it's going to be an SUV. Then you've got the Z4 GT3 car, and then three various versions of the Z4 standard car. So you've got the standard, and then you've got the drift, and then you've got the rally raid. So yeah, like I was saying, certain cars have certain amounts of various versions of them. Cadillac, now this is a big one for me, even though we've got three versions of the Escalade, which I'm not a big fan of or anything. You've got the Rally Raid edition and the Touring Car edition. God knows why. But yes, we've got a Cadillac that we've not had it in a Forza game. The closest I think we got was a convertible version with the even bigger wings on the back. But yeah, I'm really glad this is in the game. No, it's not quick, no, it's not powerful, no, it's not even good at handling, but it's great, and it was the first car I bought out of the own money that I actually earned on this game. So yeah, you can see how excited I am about that. Might give it a little drive after we finish this. Then we've got Chevrolet. We've got the Camaro RS, which is again is a version of a car that we've not had in Forza games. We've only ever really had the SS version. We might have had the RS in Forza Motorsport 4, can't quite remember, but we've only ever had the SS in the latest Forza games. And yeah, it's not a big difference, it's only really a less powerful version, but I've always liked somewhat underpowered V8s from America in certain cars because they're kind of fun. And then we've got the Rally Raid edition, the Rallycross edition, and the Touring Car edition. So we have 3 versions from them. The only version we're not have with these is a Drift. And then we've got the Camaro SS from 2010, and a Drift edition of that car, as well as the Rally Raid edition, and the Rallycross edition, and a Monster Truck edition. So yeah, oh, and the Touring Car edition. So yeah, the Camaro SS does really have the full lot there. And then we've got the Camaro Z28, another favourite of mine from Chevy. The Camaro ZL1, another favourite of mine, hugely powerful. And then we've got the Corvette C2, and then the Corvette C3. I don't think we've had a C3 from 1968 in a Forza game before. If we have, then I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure we've only ever had the early 70s version. And then we've got the Corvette C6R, and then the Stingray, and then the Drift edition of that car, as well as the Drag edition. Now this is another car I'm hugely excited to see, the Chevrolet Impala Sports Sedan. Again, a car we've not had in Forza games before. Again, like the Cadillac, not all that powerful, not all that quick, but it's again an more ordinary car that we've not had in a previous racing game that I've played. And yeah, I love my 60s and 70s American cars, especially ones I've never driven before on a previous game. And then we've got the touring car edition of that car. And then we've got a Silverado 1500 touring car edition, as well as a standard edition. Again, a car we've not had in a previous Forza game. Again, not massively quick, as you can see, it can't even do 100 mile an hour according to this game. But again, it's something new that I've not played with on a previous racing game, so I'm all fine with that. Then you've also got the Monster Truck edition of it, and the Rally Raid edition, and a second version of that Rally Raid edition. So yeah, plenty of choices there for the Silverado. And the Chrysler, you've only got the 300 SRT8. And Citroen, you've got the C3 racing car. These are a boat maker. Again, I know nothing about boats. I know probably even less about boats than I do know about bikes. But yeah, there's obviously plenty of choices in terms of boats on this game. And then we've got the Challenger RT from Dodge. Nice of them to put it in the colours from Drive for San Francisco that Ubisoft also made. Then we've got the 392 version of the Challenger from 2012. This is a car that we do have in Forza Motorsport 7, but it's locked behind those prize crates, etc. So it's nice to have it in the actual game, easily accessible on here. Though it's not the most powerful Challenger out there, it is actually my favourite version of the modern Challenger. And then you've got the Drift edition, the Drag Race edition, and the Rally Raid edition, and the Rallycross edition, and the Monster Truck edition, and the Touring Car edition. It is a bit ridiculous how many different versions there can be of one car. Again, it just seems to be like filling out the car list, quite frankly, which is my main problem with this car list. And then we've got the Hellcat, the original Charger, which also comes in a Drift edition, a Rallycross edition, and a Touring Car edition. And then the Challenger SRT8, which again comes in more versions. And then we've got the Dodge SRT Viper GTS in a Drift edition and Drag edition. And then we've got the Viper Competition Coupe. Don't think we've had this in Forza Motorsport games before, so it is nice to see it in here. And then we've got the last version of the old version of the Viper, which again I don't think we've had in a previous Forza game before as well. So again, it's nice to see that in this game. Then you got Ducati with all their various bikes. Again, I know nothing about these, but if you're into your bikes, you have plenty of choice on this game. which I'm fine with. And then we've got the Ferraris 365 GTB4 Competizione, again a car we've not had in previous Forza games. Hugely powerful, and you can see by that top speed, not a slapshot at all. Then we've got the 458 Italia GT2, the standard version, then the 488 GT3, F12 Berlinetta, the F40, as well as the F40 LM, which we do have actually in Forza Motorsport, and then the LaFerrari from Ford, various versions of the F-150 Raptor, Monster Truck Edition, Touring Car Edition, Rally Raid. Then we've got the Focus RS, which also has a Drift Edition, and a Drag Edition, and a Rally Raid Edition, and a Rallycross Edition, and a Touring Car Edition. Yeah, like I said, this gets ridiculous at times to just go through. So we've got the standard Focus RS, then the Ford GT, which also comes in a Drift Edition, and other versions. And then we've got the newest Ford GT, the Mustang GT, which is also a Drift and Drag, and Rally Raid, and Monster Truck, Touring Car. Then we've got the latest Mustang GT Fastback. I say latest, it's only a couple of years old. And then the Shelby GT500. Then you got more boats. Weird looking plane, which looks like it's an engine and a seat only. And then you got your Harley Davidsons. Again, I know this is probably the only car bike manufacturer I'm ever interested in, but unless you got the pre-order version, you only get one bike from them, unfortunately. Then you got these planes. I know I said car list, but I thought maybe to show you the planes and bikes as well. Only one car from Honda with the Civic Type R is the. It's not even the latest version of the Civic Type R either, so yeah, a bit of a downer on that one, even though I'm not a massive fan of that Type R, it still would have been nice to have it. Then you got the H1 Alpha. It's not the same bodied version that we have in Forza Motorsport. It's got the open back, but that's the only difference between this and the one in Forza Motorsport. But then you also get your Rally Raid Edition and your Rally Raid Edition Evo 2. And another boat, which actually looks rather cool, even I'll admit that. Then you got your Indian motorcycles. These actually look pretty cool as far as I'm concerned. And this is from someone that doesn't even really like bikes. Then you've got a couple of Jaguars. You've got the CX-75 Concept. Again, a car we're not had in Forza Motorsport, so I'm really pleased to see this in this game. Obviously it's only a concept car, but it's still a mighty powerful and quick one. And then the F-Type SVR Coupe. From Jeep, we have, as you would expect, plenty of different versions of one car. We've got the Grand Cherokee Standard Edition, and various versions, as well as the Wrangler having various editions. They're the only two main cars though in the game. From Jeep, Kawasaki, as you'd expect, plenty of bikes. Koenigsegg, we only have the Agera R and the Regera, but again, if you're going to have any from Koenigsegg, you may as well have two of the most powerful versions from them. KTM, only bikes, not got the Expo in this game, but if you're going to have anything from KTM, you may as well have their bikes. Lamborghini, nice choice from Lamborghini as far as I'm concerned. You got the Aventador with its couple of versions, well, one version, and then you got the Gallardo Super Trofeo, and then you got the Gallardo LP574 Superleggera, which is actually one of my favourite Lamborghinis. Then you got the Huracan, and in its also Super Trofeo version. Got the Miura, which is a version that we've not had from Forza Motorsport, because this is a 1971 version, which has 30 horsepower more than the standard version in Forza Motorsport, so I'm really glad that's in. And then we've also got the standard Murcielago, which is not something we've had in a standard Forza Motorsport game for a while as well. Obviously because they've had newer versions of the Murcielago with more power and etc. But I'm really glad to see the standard version in the game, because it is one of my favourite Lamborghinis. And then you also have a couple of different versions of it, including the RGT, which is even older than the one that we have on here, but it's probably even better in terms of handling with that wing on the back. And then you got the Veneo. It's a decent choice from Lamborghini. Lancia, only a couple of cars here. We've got the Delta S4 and the Rally 037. It's a shame that we don't have the likes of a Stratos. Then we've got the Lotus, got the Evora GTE, Exige S, and the Exige S Rallycross. We've not had the GTE in a Forza Motorsport game, I don't think. Certainly way more powerful than the standard Evora. Maserati, got the Gran Turismo S touring car edition of that car, the MC12 standard edition, and then the version that we don't have in Forza Motorsport, the Versione Corsa, which, as you can see, hugely powerful, and got a pretty decent top speed on it as well, even if it is only just the same as the standard version. But again, it's got a massive wing on the back of it, so to have the same top speed is pretty impressive. Mazda, not very many from Mazda, unfortunately. We only got the new MX-5 with a touring car edition, and then the RX-7 with a drift edition. So yeah, not very much choice there, unfortunately. McLaren, we've got the 12C, 12C GT3, the F1, and then the P1. So yeah, no drift or touring car editions in these, which I'm surprised by, quite frankly, but we do have the main ones there. And then from Mercedes, we've got a couple of versions, well, 3 cars I think from Mercedes that we've never had in a Forza game before. We've got the 300 SLR from 1955, which you can see is almightily quick, and then we've got the 300 SLR from 1955 as well, but the racing version. Again, I don't think we've had this in a Forza Motorsport game either. Certainly can't remember having one that looks as mad as this. And then we've got the C63 AMG. You got the AMG C63 touring car, which you can only get by pre-ordering, but you can also get it in the this version, the C Coupe touring car. Then we've got the AMG GT, AMG GT3. Now this I'm glad that's in the game. I know it's a bit weird how, and like the fact that there's a 9-year-old Mercedes SL car in the game, but again, it's a car we've never had in a Forza Motorsport game before, and yeah, it's a car I've wanted to drive in a racing game for a long time, quite frankly. And then we've also got the touring car edition, and we've got the McLaren SLR McLaren 722 edition, which again we've not in the previous Forza Motorsport game before. Basically just more powerful and a higher top speed than the standard SLR. And then you got a GT version of that as well. Got the SLS, which comes in a GT3 version, and then you've got the X-Class Rally Raid edition, not the standard version of the car. But again, we've never had an X-Class in any. I think this is the first time it's been featured in a racing game, to be honest. So yeah, really glad that's in the game. Then Mini, not many new versions here, but there is a new version of a car I hate, so there is that going for it. So you've just got the standard Mini Cooper S, which has rallycross and touring car. Now, even though I do hate the Countryman, I am glad it's in the game, because again, it's a car I can, you know, rail on if I ever get the chance to. But again, it's still a new car to drive around that we've not necessarily had in previous racing games. And then you've got the Rallycross Edition version as well. Then you've got this from a company I've never heard of, but it's mightily quick. Then Nissan, huge variations of just the 370Z, quite frankly, in this game. Drift Edition, Drag Edition, Rally Raid Edition, Rallycross, Monster Truck, Touring Car. Then you got the 370Z Nismo. Then the Nismo's in the Drift Edition. And then you got the yeah, it's basically just the basically just the Z cars in various versions, be they old or new. Then you got your GTR. Surprised that we don't have the newest GTR that the likes of Forza Motorsport has. And I'm really surprised they didn't put the 90s version in that everyone likes. But yeah, you've got various versions of that GTR there. Then we've got these guys, North American, never heard of you, but there we go. Not big on planes. And then we've got the Huayra from Pagani, as well as the Zonda F and the Zonda R. Peugeot, we've got the 3008 DKR Maxi. Pretty decent off-road vehicle by the looks of it. And then you got more planes. Then from Porsche, we have the 911 GT3 Cup, as well as the GT3 RS. Get the 911 Turbo 3.6 if you've got the season pass. The 918 Spider, and it's nice to see it, though I would have preferred the standard 959 and then being able to upgrade to the Rally Raid edition. But yeah, it is still good to see such a vehicle in the game, because we've never had such a thing in a previous racing game as far as I'm concerned. We've got this Proto company. Never heard of them before. If they're real or not, I'm not sure. But they do all sorts by the looks of it. You've got helicopters, you've got racing vehicles, you've got boats, you've got off-road vehicles, you've even got a hot rod. So, yeah, not sure if they're a real company or they're just something Ubisoft have made to put various vehicles in. But yeah, that boat looks cool. That's like something like a Bond villain would drive. And then yeah, you've got a hovercraft as well if you would like to be out of control all the time. Red Bull, we've got the RB13 Formula 1 car. Then from Renault, we've got the new Renault Megane RS. This is the first time again that this has been featured in a game, so it's nice to see, but I would prefer to see it in a game that takes its handling physics a bit more seriously. But plenty of power, as you can see, and apparently can do 158, which is impressive for a hot hatch, though it is quite large, especially in comparison to the previous iterations of that car. And then RUF have various versions of the Porsches. I do like the fact they've got with CTR3, which as you can see has a huge amount of power and top speed, and you can even get it in a drag edition if you so fancy, if you want to you know, somehow want to go even faster. Then we've got Celine, which only has the one car in a different version, but it is the one car that I would like from Celine, and it's the twin turbo version of the S7. Now we do have the S7 on Forza Motorsport games, but we've never had the twin turbo version, which has 200 horsepower more. As you can see, do 248 miles an hour, which is impressive. And then we have the SR7AR, which I think is just a more racing version of that car. Then we got finally we got the Shelby GT500 from the 60s back in a racing game. Really glad to see this back. We've not had one of these in a Forza Motorsport game since Forza Motorsport 4, so yeah, really glad it's in this game. No, it's not quick like the Chevy and the Cadillac, etc., but I still like the fact that it's in the game. And then you have your Drift Edition and Touring Car editions of that car. More aircraft here from Slick Aircraft, South African apparently, so yeah, but never heard of them. Then you got the Spitfires, obviously everyone's heard of these. Then Suzuki, you've got the one bikes, whereas there's no cars from them. TVR, we only have the Sagaris, which, you know, if any, I would have liked more from TVR, but the fact they are actually in this game at all is impressive. We've got Vector, then from VW, we've only got a couple of cars here. The GTI, not even the modern version, so that is a bit of a shame. Then you got the racing version of the Touareg. But we do have a newer version of the Touareg, which we've never had in a Forza Motorsport game. This is 2 years newer than the one we have in the latest iteration of Forza Motorsport, so it is nice to see that in the game, but there isn't really all that much difference between the two, quite frankly. And then we have Waco Aircraft, so I see some biplanes in this game, and yeah, some more planes. So yeah, the car list itself is fairly decent. There are several cars in here that we've never seen in the likes of a Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon game, which is fine by me, but yeah, it could be a bit more in depth, and it could have saved some space on the car list by having Rally Raid editions, etc., as upgrades only and not just separate vehicles. I would have preferred that, quite frankly, but yeah, that's just the way it goes. So yeah, I'm just going to show you off the Cadillac that I bought. So yeah, really impressed that this is in the game. I've upgraded it a little bit. It's got a what was it again? Oh yeah, interior. I'm still getting used to the buttons. Yeah, I upgraded the interior basically. I just made it all red with some black accents on the dashboard. But yeah, I like the fact that you can upgrade in terms of the insides. And yeah, it might not be the quickest of things, but it's a nice cruiser. And that's what this game does best, quite frankly. The racing and etc. of the cars, the bikes, the planes and the boats are all decent, etc. But I find this game more enjoyable when just cruising around, enjoying the sights and the sounds of America, quite frankly. And yeah, I can't wait to get a muscle car and just drive headlong onto the desert like you're in Vanishing Point or something. So yeah, not the best racing game out there, not even the best free roam racing game out there, and I certainly don't think Forza Horizon 4 is going to beat it in that regards. But I'm still glad that I bought this game. It's got its flaws, and yeah, certainly is Ubisoft in certain ways, especially in terms of the currencies, etc. But could be a whole lot worse, and it's way better than the original Crew, especially in terms of handling and graphics. Nonetheless, thanks for watching. I do kind of recommend this game, but if you want to hold off until it's a lot cheaper than it already is, then I wouldn't blame you, because it does have its flaws, but for the most part it is a solid game, even though it could be a lot better. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.